Illinois lawmakers are one step closer to overhauling the state's child labor laws, passing a bill today to modernize them. It would ban kids from working in jobs not covered 75 years ago, like cannabis shops and adult entertainment facilities. It also limits kids under 16 to working 18 hours during the school week and 40 when school is not in session. Illinois Department of Labor agency officials argue piecemeal changes over the years have created outdated, conflicting provisions in state law.
We're trying to just create a whole new bill, gut and replace it, and allow for an easier way to manage the bill and understand. And so employers and everyone else can also understand it. I think right now it just creates a lot of unnecessary misunderstandings for a bill that is very important, and it's protecting the vulnerable.
Opponents expressed concerns about the hour limits for students.